Alright, let's have a closer look inside the GWG-2000 Modmaster G-Shock, and while at it, let's compare this to this. Let's get to it. And the adapter was locked with just 4 screws, large 4 screws by the way, and after you're done removing those, these parts will just fall down like that. One on this side, one on this side, and there goes the band. One on this side and one on this side. The structure for the lug part of the watch is quite unique. Notice that there's 3 holes here, and this part is quite thin. It worries me a bit, but since this part is also supporting this part over here, so I guess it is strong enough. Besides, it is fairly thick though. You could remove the buckle, it's just locked with a single pin, so it's quite easy, or you just left it as it is. If you want to swap the band, or if you cannot find a band, perhaps just swap one of these to different colorway, brighter or darker or paler, entirely up to you guys. So this part is also customizable. Now let's remove all the bezel pieces. For this specific colorway, all of the screws, even from the bezel part, also have been iron plated to black, so make sure you don't lose those and make sure you maintain the condition as good as possible. Now here is the bezel as it is, starting with the forged carbon part on the 12 o'clock position, just left it out like that. And then you could remove the 6 o'clock position, just like that. And then you could remove the 9 o'clock position. This is not forged carbon, but it's also carbon reinforced, just like the carbon core case. And then here's the color part. This part is flexible and it is soft, so I guess you could switch it up to different color to make it unique. Or perhaps if you want to change any one of these bezel pieces, you could do that, or just mix based on your favorite color combinations. And then here's another part. This is a bit tricky. Unlike the 1000 Modmaster series, where this is just resin, this is just for decoration. Everything just could really peel off like that. It is flexible. Whereas on this case, this part is forged as well. Now, if I want to remove this bezel at the top here, I have to remove this part, which is tricky. Luckily, we could just loosen up the crown like that, just unscrews it, loosen up this part, and now the bezel is removable from the front. So this is quite interesting, the fact that you don't have to go through from the back, pull out the movement out, and then swap the index marker. Not that you have to do so since it already have glows in the dark properties, but just in case you want to switch it up to different colors, this is where you could access it. So this is metal, and the glass was locked into that. Of course, you could see the gasket around there. You're probably gonna need to use some heat gun to remove this glass, but remember, it is sapphire, it is strong enough already. Plus, there's anti-reflective coating from the bottom here, so do not put your fingerprint down there. So if you want to remove this part, it's gonna be very hard, especially if you try to customize this CD index and also the minute marker over there. So I would just prefer to leave it as it is. Now, from here, we could already remove the index marker, just like that. There's no tape down here apparently, which is nice. Look at it, it's just been painted from the top. The bottom part is just full white. You can see some close-up image of it. All of those white part that was painted are glows in the dark. So if you want to change it up to a better one, perhaps get one that is fully glows in the dark instead. But otherwise, just use this as it is. It is already good enough. And then notice there's O-ring on top of it, since you have to lock it from the front, so you need an O-ring for the front as well. If I want to remove the movement, I still cannot do it because there's a crown attached to it, meaning we have to access it all the way from the back. Open it up. Whoa, this part is pretty heavy by the way. There's the back cushioning, piezoelectric speaker down there, and there's another panel, metal panel in oval shape. That is, if you remove this part, the movement would just pause instantly. It's like an indicator that this part has been removed, the watch started being serviced, so do not move anything about the movement. So there's a nice touch, something that you couldn't find on a lower end G-Shock watch. And there's the gasket as well. It looks to me like it has the same shape as the one at the front. Maybe they are interchangeable, swappable. I don't know, we'll find out afterwards. But now you have to remove this sensor on the side here and also the crown. Now this process will require to use a simple tool as a needle. If you want to remove this sensor, just pop up that connector, push this sensor piece out. I'm left-handed, so I'm gonna do it on this side here. Just wiggle it out a little bit. And there we go. That is the crown of your Modmaster GWG-2000. Put this aside, make sure it is in good shape. Most of the problem that I noticed with a Modmaster series is this thing over here. So check yours if you have any issues at all. Now, since we already removed the crown, this part will just falls down on its own. If you want to customize that, so I guess this is the hardest part to customize for the watch. Perhaps if you're doing so, just go all the way in and swap this up to different color if you want to. Now that we already removed the crown, we could just lift this movement up from the back, and since we already unlocked this sensor lock there, slowly remove it from this side, slowly, gently, so it didn't break that connector, that sensor ribbon. Now the movement is fully been taken out. If you have any issues at all with the button, like it is stuck or there's mud or dirt getting there for whatever reason, even though it is a mud resistant G-Shock, you're gonna have to remove all of those E-clip underneath there and proceed by removing this barrel, and also there's the buttons in there, and clean it up. And I want to spend a minute here just to show a close-up for this intricate design carbon core case with all this padding on the sides and also the sensor cover buttons as well, so enjoy. As much as I love this Maharishi Modmaster, in order to finish this video, I have to disassemble this GWG-2000 as well. So let's get to it. Here we go. Here are all the parts which I already removed. Took me quite a while. There's a lot of things going on over here. Even though the movement itself, function-wise, is just exactly the same. But I really appreciate the fact that Casio always goes the extra miles of making things different regardless whether the user, like us, gonna notice it or not. In this case, most of us probably not gonna notice whatsoever in this GWG-2000, but still, it is incredible difference. First thing that you'll notice when you remove this, of course, this side screws here. The GWG-2000 uses one on 2.0 mm. This one on the 1000 series uses a 2.5 mm hex screwdriver. Both of them have been, well, iron plated to black, but this Maharishi version have a slight gloss finishing to it and a washer attached to it as well to make sure that it is locked tightly. And then this adapter, I would say, they aren't the same as well, even though they function the same way, but the 1000 series has a larger size and texture on it, so you cannot interchange them. Obviously, the 1000 series didn't have a lot of side screws, however, it does have this pin here that lock the band in place better, whereas on the 2000 version didn't have anything to lock it even further. Now the strap itself on the 1000 series give me a better confidence because the lug section is, I would say, wider, so I would assume it is much stronger in comparison to the 2000 G-Shock watch. The buckle and the watchband keeper is obviously the same, and if you want to change it up, they are interchangeable because they also feature the same exact size and build as well, so that's nice. Then carry on to the watch bezel. For obviously the 1000 series is just basics, this flexible resin bezel, which is still very strong and hard to remove, even though you don't have to remove the side buttons on the hard case, but it is still really complicated process and you have to be very careful. And notice there's stud on there, decoration studs, which I think you could swap it up to different colors if you want to have some fun with your 1000 series. Here is the sensor cover on the side. It's just a piece of plastic. You could swap it up as well to different colors you want to, unlike on the GWG-2000, which I already showcased just now. But the casing itself for both of them, notice that the 1000 series is thicker, it is bigger, it is higher, and the padding, there aren't any at all on the outside, whereas on GWG-2000 you can see the gray padding over there around the light buttons and also that 6 o'clock position, and you can see one's a little bit on the crown there and also on the 12 o'clock position, whereas on the 1000 series didn't have any. However, you do have them on the inside of the watch instead to hold the movement in place, top and bottom. And that's pretty much it. Now let's talk about the crown. The crown for the watch is also have been designed totally differently, but the part that connect to the movement of the watch is still exactly the same, meaning the parts are interchangeable between GWG-1000. You could also use 1000 crown on the GWG-2000. However, the crown cannot be swapped between the hard case itself because the design, the size is not the same. You just cannot screw it on. The next thing I need to point out, if I take this movement out, here we go. The back plate also are the same as well. They look kind of similar, but they have been redesigned slightly differently in there. So you see the back cushioning is different. On the 2000 series, it's pretty much the same like most G-Shock watch, whereas on the 1000 version, it is an alpha gel. So it is better protected the movement than this guy over here. Unique, right? Not that it is gonna make a huge difference, but still very impressive there. And then the movement itself is quite interesting. They have the same function, but because the 1000 series have larger numericals, say the 12, 3, 6, 6, 9 o'clock numbers there, it fits with its original index marker, which is also turns out to be larger in size in comparison to 2000 version. It's finer, slicker and all that, meaning you cannot interchange them, okay? Even though the movement itself has the exact same sizing, this part here aren't, unless you swap the face dial as well, and only then you could swap the index marker along with it. Even so, since it is very hard to remove this minute marker that is underneath the glass part, if you change this index marker between these two, this part cannot lock into this 1000 version, and the 1000 version cannot be locked into the 2000 series minute marker. So you cannot interchange them regardless, unless you change the face dial, also this minute marker inside the glass as well. Very hard process, which I'm not willing to do. It's gonna took me hours, and I might end up breaking this part. I don't want to risk it. This much are expensive. Since they have the same exact sizing for the movement, you could actually swap them. The 1000 G-Shock into the 2000 series hard case, or the 2000 series movement, you could swap it inside this 1000 series hard case. You only cannot use the index marker here. Just put the movement in as it is, and then it will fit. Even the crown could be fit in as well, and that is impressive. So let's just say, for example, you don't like this 2000 series movement, there's too many square shapes on it, you prefer the OG one, but you also want a carbon core movement, forged carbon parts. Here we go. Just plug this in there, and then you could install everything else as it is, and you end up with a 1000 series movement inside a 2000 series casing with operational crown as well. Now with that said, I think I covered a lot of things in this video. I hope you guys learned something, and you have any other question, just let me know down in the comment section. I'll answer to the best of my ability. And obviously shout out to Buyee for making this video possible. Check the link down in the description box, sign up. You will earn an extra one-time discount on the first order, and it will help this channel massively so I could make much more contents like this. And perhaps in the later videos, I'm gonna make a customization version of the Modmaster somehow. I haven't done a 1000 series yet. I also haven't done yet on the 2000 series. Maybe we'll combine them. That's pretty much it. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.